All right, welcome back. Today is Wednesday, and let's get this thing going, shall we? So, first things first, if you're new to the stream, here's how it works. So, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to evaluate the Nasdaq futures because I'm looking at the micro futures contract and I'm looking to determine the trend and what side I should be working on as far as using the Trade Scanner Pro. Then I will go to my smaller time frames and I will be using the Trade Scanner Pro to look for confirmations on the side of the analysis that we determine. So I'm going to show you step by step how to do this. I do the same thing on every stream. So this stream basically serves as a instruction guide to using the Trade Scanner Pro. If you haven't tried it out yet, there's a 14-day free trial available. But make sure you watch these streams because you're not going to figure it out on your own. It's not intuitive. These streams were meant to be like support for the script so that you can learn how to use it reasonably. Also, you can use this as an opportunity to ask me questions about it and things like that. All right, so let's get started. Now, what I'm doing with this is I'm attempting to beat an Apex evaluation using the Trade Scanner Pro, but this is the technique that I'm demonstrating here is really more for taking payouts. Okay, I'm not really up much on this account. I was minus 1,000 one point. I was plus 1,000 at one point. I gave that back, and I'm trying to make it way back. I need to reach a $3,000 objective to get to the payout phase. Now, in order to do that in a reasonable amount of time, I've been at this now a couple of months, a little bit more than that. To do this in a reasonable amount of time, I have to increase the size. There's no way around that. So I'm thinking about just doing that because I'm not going to keep, I'm subscribed to this account and I'm not going to sit on this account for 6 months doing this. So what I'm going to do most likely is start increasing the size and maybe I'll play the game with mini lots because that you're going to see a big change in the numbers. Instead of making, two $50 or $80, it'll be more like $500, in a trade. But when I'm wrong, I'm also going to most likely blow the account because that's the whole thing. So when it comes to prop firm evaluations, beating the evaluation needs to be its own separate strategy compared to when it comes time to having a sustainable strategy to actually pull out payouts. All right. So if that doesn't make sense, let me know. Now, let's talk about Bitcoin real quick before we talk about the NASDAQ. Look at this. Guys, remember on Monday? What was I saying on Monday when we were over here after the pin bar? People in the chat were like, no, I need more confirmation. Okay, but hopefully you got a piece of that. That was pretty clear before the Trade Scanner Pro gave a signal. In fact, if you check on, I think it's the 4-hour time frame, the Trade Scanner Pro produced a signal on this thing. Was it the 4-hour? This is the 4-hour. Let me turn on the let me turn these on real quick. Right? Was it the 4-hour? Or maybe it was another time frame. I saw a signal somewhere. Maybe it's the 1 hour. Where was it? There was a signal on this thing. What's this over here? Oh, this is a daily time frame. How come it's not on this one? Should be on, oh, it is. It should be. There it is. Okay. So the daily time frame gave the signal on the Trade Scanner Pro. Notice a trend line break as well. But the daily time frame gave the signal on this large candle. Now, as you guys know, I talk about the filtering technique. So this situation right here has not produced any filtering technique type of trades, right? So the idea here is, okay, we use this signal that you can see on the screen here, the order suggestions. We use this signal as a heads up. So there's a heads up to buy Bitcoin, right? As a swing trade, because I wouldn't, or, you could take this thing on day trades, but in this case, we're looking at a swing trade, right? But you use this as a heads up. I have to emphasize that. Heads up. So that means that now you wait for the pullback. Now, you don't jump into this now. You're taking a lot of risk, especially now, right? If you're going to jump in, you want to jump in at the blue line, not way above the blue line. So in this case, since we're waiting for a pullback, now what you want to see is this, right? A red candle going back to retest the blue line. Ideally, it goes below the blue line and then gives you a new buy signal, a candlestick reversal somewhere in this area. The low 10, what is that, 103, 102 area? And that would be ideal. That's the secondary entry filter. I use that filter on the 30-second and 1 minute time frame each time I stream. That filter, that technique is very useful when it comes to larger time frames, like the daily time frame or 5-minute time frame or 30-minute time frame, because you may miss the initial entry. It's okay. Wait for the secondary or third entry. A lot of times, as you guys know, we get those opportunities. But anyway, this was a failed low double bottom situation on Bitcoin. And this is a consolidation. It's a wave 4 consolidation. Most likely, if no sell signal appears in the next day or two, this is likely to break out. All right, and 113K is the next price objective for this thing. Is that where the Trade Scanner Pro puts it? The Trade Scanner Pro puts it at 115. The Trade Scanner Pro is anticipating a price objective of 115K. Interesting. But we blow through 113K, I think 120 is a possibility. We're likely to break out because this is the beginning of the wave 5, right? The wave 5 of the 5. When on my thing over here, you see like this wave 5 with the question marks. This is incorrect. So I need to move these over because this is wave 5. That's what happens with wave counts. All right, but when that wave 5 completes, you don't want to be in this thing. So, but now we have to count 5 waves in that. This is the first wave, basically. Anyway, all right, we're not here to talk about Bitcoin. I just wanted to, okay? The Nasdaq has been ridiculous. All right, so Chairman Powell testifies today at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. All right, 10 a.m. That's going to coincide with our session here. So I do not like to take trades while this guy is speaking, but we'll see what happens. So let's just do our analysis. I'm going to switch this. Well, first we want to start with our daily time frame. Understand something. When we have a situation like this where Chairman Powell is testifying, chart analysis isn't going to really mean much because he can say something and whatever analysis we do can go out the window in an instant if he says something the market doesn't like or like, right? It can go either way. So it's going to be completely random and the market's going to react to whatever he says. The charts may align with it coincidentally or not. So we want to be aware of that. Anyway, this is what I'm doing with the daily time frame. As you guys know, I do this all the time. Right? I got my support levels and I got my resistance levels. I mean, look where we are right now. We're on the highs. We're just pushing on. This thing doesn't go any other way. Just pushes high after high after high. By the way, this is high risk area for the Nasdaq. Very high risk for investors. Great time to take profits, take money off the table. Anyone that's buying here, man, I don't know what to tell you. You are all thing you're doing is making rich people rich. That's all you're doing. If you're buying this thing now as an investor, or you're buying stocks now because things look great, all you're doing is making the rich richer. All right, so those are the levels. Those are the support and the resistance levels. Remember, I work on the 30-second and 1 minute time frame. So now I switch to the 60-minute because I want to get a sense now of momentum. This is pretty easy. Not much work to do here, right? Even no one's talking to me in the chat, you guys can imagine what this assessment is. Bullish or bearish, right? I don't even have, even the wall that I'm talking to over here can tell me this is clearly bullish. There's no question. It's crystal clear. And this resistance line that I drew is just based on the highs that it's pushing right now. These are all-time highs. So there's really no other resistance. The only other levels I can get really are drawing projections on the chart, and that will give me some inflection points. I mean, I could do that on this time frame just for fun. We could do one, right? So you go to your projection tool and you find like a 3-legged projection situation, like something like this, right? That's 3 legs. And now we're looking at like the 1.0, which is nearby. What is that? 22,583. And then we have the 1618, 22,701. I doubt we're going to 22,701 today. So that would be one inflection point, that 500 area. But that's not really like I wouldn't worry too much about that. Whatever resistance that it develops intraday, we'll have to work with that. Right now, we'll just use this reference point, which is the high that it just made, a few minutes ago. All right, so bullish. So my job is done. Analysis is complete. There's no more work I have to do here. Now, what I do is I switch to my 30-second time frame because that's the time frame that I trade. Right? I know this in advance. Look, we have a heads up, and I have my 1 minute time frame. I want my 1 minute time frame over here. Okay, those are the 2 time frames that I monitor: the 30-second and the 1 minute. This is a 1 minute, right? Yeah, 1 minute. So that looks dramatic, that candle. So I'm looking for a long signal, a confirmation of a long signal from the Trade Scanner Pro. It's that simple. As you can see, my trend status on these time frames up here, trend is bullish. That means the Trade Scanner Pro is looking for longs. That's what that means. If it said bearish, that means Trade Scanner Pro is looking for shorts if it says bearish, but it doesn't say that. So when it says bearish, but I assessed that the market is long, that's when I have to switch to counter trend if I'm more advanced, if I'm looking for the reversal, that type of thing. But I'm not going to, that's confusing, so I'm not going to get into that. The easiest thing to do when you have a conflict like that is wait until your smaller time frame realigns with your analysis. So if we've assessed that the market is bullish, but then this thing turns bearish, just wait until it turns bullish again. Like right now, this thing can turn bearish. Like if this thing sells off a bit, we'll see this thing turn bearish. Okay, that means the Trade Scanner Pro is looking for shorts, but I'm not looking for shorts. So I ignore shorts and I wait until this thing turns bullish again so I can get long signals. Right now, I'm getting a heads up for a long signal. Now remember, if we get the signal, if the actual signal appears in the next couple of candles, that, using our filtering technique, that is what we're going to use as a heads up. Not like this is, we could call this like the pre-heads up, right? And then when the signal pops up on the chart, that will be the heads up because I'm not jumping into the signal. I've been doing this now for a few weeks and it's been working out pretty well. So we use the secondary entry filter, which is simply wait for it to retest the blue line. All right, but right now the market's pulling back. Now remember, we're going into this Chairman Powell testimony at 10 a.m. It's just 10 minutes. I really don't want to take any trades while this guy's speaking, but we'll see what comes along. Remember, I have to remind you that the market is going to be highly random when he speaks. So this analysis that I've done may be for nothing because all this assessments that we made, bullish this, bullish that, can change in a blink of an eye if he says something the market doesn't like. So understand that. Charts only can help you to a point. But when you're dealing with something like the Fed coming out saying things, the market's going to be extremely reactive to whatever he says. Charts go out the window. Chart analysis goes out the window in those situations. Okay? Very important to understand. So now I'm getting a heads up on my 1 minute. All right. Well, it was there for a moment. We'll see how that plays out. Still looking for longs. Has this thing changed yet? Oh, see, look, see, it changed to bearish. See that? You got to pay attention. That happens a lot on this 30-second time frame. That happens a lot. This changes a lot. So right now on this time frame, the Trade Scanner Pro is looking for shorts right now. I'm not looking for shorts though. I'm interested in longs. So I wait. That means I'm going to have to wait. I'm not going to get a long signal unless I go into counter trend mode. All right. But my 1 minute is still aligned, right? My 1 minute is still possibly shown for longs. Possibly a long could develop from there. So I'll work with that then. I'll work with that. Now, if I want to find longs in this situation on the 30-second time frame, that's when I would go to counter trend mode. Right? Now is when I would do that because I'm interested in longs. Now, I'm not in a hurry to take any trades anyway, because again, with the testimony starting in 10 minutes, in less than 10 minutes, I believe I'm just asking for trouble by taking trades in this environment. So I'm going to be more conservative. I'll let the 1 minute confirm. All right, instead of going to counter trend mode over here, which would be aggressive. Now, here's how the testimony, the first day of the testimony was yesterday. It started at 10 a.m. and it begins with the opening statement that Chairman Powell presents, I guess. He reads his opening statement, followed by Q&A. Now, the entire session yesterday went on for 3 hours, a little over 3 hours. So the opening statement is, I guess, about, 20 minutes or something like that, followed by the Q&A. So it's a 3-hour thing. I mean, yesterday was 3 hours. So what, they're going to do it less today? Maybe. But he's going to be at least on for an hour and a half, at least. So that's why, after 10 o'clock, it's like, might as well flip a coin, right? So if we get a look, I may get a 1 minute signal. And if I do, I'll be open to taking the retest. Remember, the signal will be the heads up. So if this, on this candle close, if we get the signal, I will consider that the heads up. Now, also, I'm only going to take one contract. I'm not going to take two or anything like that. Not in this environment, because things can get wrong really fast. All right. So let's see. This is probably going to produce a signal in the next candle close. Let's see. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, there's a candle close, no signal. All right. No problem. Again, I'm not in a hurry going into this before Chairman Powell. Right? And this is where the Trade Scanner Pro, again, can keep you out of trouble. Now, speaking of that, by the way, anyone that's actually watching, I see no one in the chat. It'd be nice if someone said hello. I'm not going to stream on Friday. I'm just letting you know right now, giving you the heads up. Speaking of heads up, I'm not streaming on Friday. So don't be looking for me on Friday. No stream on Friday. I'll remind you guys before I close out this stream as well. No stream on Friday. Doesn't matter. No one's watching me anyway. So let's see. What time is it? Okay. So we have about just over 5 minutes for Chairman Powell to begin. And then we'll see what happens here. I'm likely to get a signal. Has my 30-second changed back yet? Yes, look. See this? It changed. It was just bearish 2 seconds ago. It's bullish again. Let's see if counter trend actually gave me a signal. I bet you it gave me one. See? There's a signal. All right, so let's take a look at this. Let's see if we get the re-entry on that. Right? That's the whole idea. See the signal? Now again, I'm not interested in jumping in. This signal that we see on the chart, I'm using that as the heads up. Okay? That's the heads up. Now, we had this red candle which almost touched the blue line, but this isn't exactly ideal. So, what I'm not going to chase this. What I want to see is price touch the blue line or go below, especially in the mid area here. That's ideal. When price could get back into here, that's ideal for the entry. So sometimes, look, you're going to have trades like this where it starts off at the actual blue line and just runs away. That's okay. I don't mind missing these because I'd rather avoid all the fake outs or all the trades that start and then go straight to the stop, right? I'd rather avoid those. That's okay because you don't always get them nice and smooth like this. I had a trade on Monday right? That worked out really well. And it was all based on the secondary signal. And it pulled back. It almost went to the stop. So it really helps. That filter really helps to avoid a lot of stop outs. All right, so we'll watch how this thing goes here. Obviously I can't do anything with this. The only possibility was here, you had to wait until after the green candle close after this. But this here, like, it only looks nice after the fact. This is really far from ideal. It's a pullback, but we really had to go to the blue. And look, straight to the profit objective. Look at that. All right, no problem. At least I'm not shorting it. You know, like all these guys over here shorted the bottom. All right. So this is good to see because, again, I'm using the filtering method. I'm not going to jump into these type of trades, and I'm going to miss them. And this was a counter trend trade. This came about in counter trend mode. So I normally don't show that because it can be confusing. You have to be a little more experienced to understand how to capture that, because counter trend can get you into a lot of trouble if you don't know how to use it properly. And the only reason why I would have turned it on is because we assessed that the market's bullish, not bearish, right? But then this thing turned bearish on me, so I'm not looking for bearish signals, right? Now that I'm in counter trend mode, this thing is going to be looking for bearish signals, right? I don't want bearish signals. So I'm going to turn counter trend mode off so that and the trade suggestions vanish because that was based on counter trend. Now that we're back to trend mode, I want trades on the side of the trend. So that's why it's so important to pay attention to that. And that's why I tell people don't use counter trend mode unless you're more experienced, because you're not going to know to turn that thing on and off. And it is confusing and it's not intuitive. So that's why I encourage people to, if you subscribe to the Trade Scanner Pro, to watch my streams so you can learn these techniques. It's a very helpful tool if you understand how to use it. But if you're one of these people that think, oh, I'll just figure it out, you're just not going to figure it out. Right? I should be charging all kinds of money to teach people how to use it. But, I teach it for free. I think that's why no one values me, because I make myself so easily available. So, they just take it for granted. That's what happens. All right, so I got nothing to do here. We have, what time is it? We have a minute until the testimony begins. So now this is where the market can get random, completely random. So the market is likely to react to whatever he says, right? Now I'm going to go to a 30-minute time frame over here because this is going to be our opening range. Remember, the first 30 minutes of the market establishes the opening range. All right, there it is. So this right here is our opening range. That's our opening range. Why is that important? Because that can also serve as a guide to help us determine if this market's strong or weak. So we know what side we should be looking for trades on. Right now, we are inside the opening range. So this could be a neutral market, right? It doesn't really mean anything yet. If we could break above the opening range, would be up here. If we could break above that, that would further confirm that the market is strong. I don't look for longs. I don't take that breakout as a long, but that's a great sign for the Trade Scanner Pro to continue to look for longs. There should absolutely be no shorts if you break above there and keep going. A lot of times that level, that breakout level, will become a support. Okay? If we break below the opening range, that's a bearish sign. Now, it doesn't mean that the market's completely turned bearish. The opening range low can also serve as an important support area. So we could use that as a minor support because we don't have any supports nearby. So that can serve as a minor support possibly if we got a signal there. So that's where the opening range can be somewhat useful. All right, so I'm going to go back to the 1 minute time frame. All right, so now I don't know if anyone's watching on TV or on whatever YouTube, but Chairman Powell should be speaking right now, I believe. And this price action is likely to get very random. So, I mean, markets are highly random to begin with. You need to understand that. That's why all these tools that they promote on TradingView and all those other places, they don't really, none of them give you an actual advantage. None of them give you a statistical advantage. The value to using some of them is they can help provide some perspective. You can maybe spot certain types of opportunities easier. They just make it more visually appealing, but that's about it. Most of these tools are based on some type of oscillator or some type of look back period, and that makes them completely useless as far as forecasting goes, because looking back doesn't help us too much. It can help us in terms of identifying levels, but as far as momentum, not really. Now, if there's a clean cut, strong trend, that's where usually they all shine, right? Of course they shine, but you don't need an oscillator to determine that a trend is in progress and to find opportunities in that trend. And the worst part about them is when the trend is in the progress of changing, the oscillators will throw you off because they look back and we need to look forward. All right, so has this thing turned bearish again? I think it has. See? Bearish again. See how this thing flipped? It was bearish, back to bullish, back to bearish. See that? So I'm going to switch to counter trend mode to see if I can get a signal. See, we get the heads up. That's the only way I'm going to get a long signal. Okay? My 1 minute is still green though. So my 1 minute, I don't have to switch. There's my heads up. Remember, the goal of the Trade Scanner Pro is to align with your bigger picture analysis, because the bigger picture is what carries all the weight. So we're just essentially aligning with a larger time frame without having to take the risk associated with a larger time frame. And the Trade Scanner Pro nicely defines our risk on the smaller time frame. So I only have to risk, 20 points, 30 points, not 100 points, not 200 points. Like, that's ridiculous. But I can capture some of the momentum based on what the larger time frame is telling me. That's the idea. And you can apply that idea to any pair of time frames. It doesn't have to be like these micro time frames that I'm working with. It could be, you could be using a 4-hour chart as your action time frame and a daily chart for your context. Or you could use a 4-hour chart and a weekly time frame. Or you can use a 15-minute chart for your action and a 4-hour or a daily chart for your context. Okay, look, we got a signal on the 1 minute. See that? Okay, beautiful. So that is what I'm going to use as my heads up. Remember, that's how we're using this. So I'm not going to jump in. Oh, look, it vanished because the candle got too big. The candle needs to close at a certain range in order for that signal to stick. All right, no problem. But that's okay. That's why, again, I don't jump into the signal. That signal serves as a heads up. All right, so let's see if it can close and establish itself. Man, I got nothing on the 30-second. Do I have to go to a 15-second again? Yeah, see that? That's just the way this market is. I have to use a 50. I don't like using the 15-second chart. I really don't. But let's monitor that signal, and let's see if we could get a secondary entry from it. Because again, that's the whole idea. The signal serves as the heads up. So I could say, okay, we got a heads up here. Now what we want to see is if we can get back into here and then generate a candlestick reversal. That is what I will take as a signal, and I'll take one contract of one micro lot. All right, so let's see if we get that. This here, pulling back to the blue line, that's nice to see. The thing is, Powell speaking. So I realize this is a very highly random market, and I want the best, I want, see what I mean? I want better reward risk. Now, this is a 15-second chart. Let me just check the 30-second real quick. Is there anything on the 30-second? Nothing. All right. Let's go back to the 15-second. All right, so see, we're pulling into the risk area. See that? That's what I want to see. This is why you don't chase these. This is exactly why. There you go. Now we're in the ideal location for a long. Now let's see if we get a reversal. Nice pin bar. Okay. Pin bar. Okay, let's see if we can go back above that candle into the blue. Okay, like that. Okay, I'm taking it. All right. So I took one. You could see on the chart, you could see the signal. You could see the thing right there, the message on the screen. Now let's see. I took one. I'm not going to add to this. All right. I'm only interested in, again, this is a 15-second time frame, which again, I don't like, but it's the only place I'm getting signals. So it's going to be very erratic. If we get up here, I blow out of my one and that's it. It's not going to be much of a profit, but it's better than nothing if we can get there. Okay, but do you see how I waited? You see how I waited for the pullback again? And I waited for a retest of the blue line again. If people are using the Trade Scanner Pro and you're not using it like this, you're going to have nothing but trouble. And that's probably why no one sticks around and cancels. And it's a valuable tool. You just refuse to learn how to use it. And I'm giving it away here for free. So, all right, now this red heads up doesn't mean anything because I'm long, right? I'm bullish. I'm not looking for shorts. And that's popping up is because I'm in counter trend mode. If I take counter trend mode off right now, this trade will vanish, right? So I'm not looking to do that. If we get to the profit objective, man, is that it? Is that all we're going to do? I'll give it a chance here. Remember, this thing could give it back in 2 seconds. See what I mean? Let's see how bad this gets. All right, I don't like it. I'm getting out. All right, I got out. So you can see the order on the thing. You can see the order. I got out because I'm not giving this back. This is completely random anyway. I made $6, just over $6. All right, so break even. I was up a little bit of money, gave it back, whatever. Still finished break even. This is a highly random environment. All the guy has to do is sneeze the wrong way, and this thing is going to do this. So that's why charting doesn't really make much sense when someone like that is speaking. Now look, we're back in the area. Maybe I'll get another trade in here. I'll try it. Why not? I'll try it. If I get a reversal, candle reversal. But you see, I'm not willing to let it go to the stop. I got out. That's how you have to play these small time frames. All right. Now let's see if I can get some type of reversal candle in this area. Look, pin bar. Okay, good start. Now, can we go back above that candle? If we could get back up here toward that blue line, I'll take one contract again. And if we can't, then this thing should be blowing through that stop. Okay, let's see. Can we do it? I like the pin bar. We got a pin bar there. All right, I'm going to give it a try. See, look how fast that thing moves so fast. Look, see, I got the order filled. It moves so fast. Now we'll try this. We'll see now if this thing can happen or not. But the fact that it gave it back over here like this is technically not a good sign. So I'm giving this a try. I may have to blow this out at the stop. I only have one contract anyway. I'm not going to add. I'm not going to put a second one on. Even if this thing works out, I'm not going to put a second one on because I don't like this environment. It's a very risky environment. Again, the guy can say something. He could say something right now that'll spike this thing 100 points in my favor. Right? It's all a matter of what he says. So that's why I don't like to trade. I don't like to trade while the guy is speaking. Oh, see what I mean? Spike the wrong way. All right, I'm out. Let's see how much that cost me. minus $33. All right. So that's not a big deal. Where's my P&L? Yeah. All right. So I'm just churning. Like it's pointless. I'm not going to continue to trade because this is all over the place, right? And rightly so. I mean, the guy is speaking. So we'll just watch this thing play out. But you see, if you guys recall, the Wednesday before, I had a negative day like this, right? But it was like $30 or something, $35. And on Monday, I caught a trade with 2 contracts and I made like 70 something dollars, right? So I made double what I lost. Now I know we're not talking big numbers here, but the thing is, when I lose $30. When I win double, more than double. That's how you get ahead, right? So I just lost $30 here. Okay, no problem. I'm not going to keep fighting this. I recognize the tough situation, right? I gave it a try. It failed. I knew I was asking for trouble anyway. Okay, no problem. It's done, right? I'm not going to continue, so that the next time I trade, a better opportunity comes along, I could take on more size, because you know how I like to add, and I make more than $30. I'll make way more than $30, right? And that's how I get ahead. That's what you have to do. Now, again, there's another signal there. Use it as the heads up, right? This would be a heads up. I'm not taking this. I'm not taking it. All right? I don't care what it does. So ideally, like if you were interested in taking this, you want to see price pull back into here somewhere. Okay? So I hope you guys are clear on that. You're using the actual signal as a heads up. You want price to pull back into this area and then give a reversal. See? Something like that. I mean, it doesn't have to pull straight back into that area. It could be like, even it could be somewhere up here, like the blue line, retesting the blue line. Now, keep in mind, I'm in counter trend mode, right? So it's going to keep giving me long signals. The 1 minute has also shifted to bearish. You see that? So I am now fighting the momentum if I keep taking these longs. That's another thing you have to consider. So if this makes sense in terms of bigger picture level, let's look at the 1 hour chart. In terms of the bigger picture level, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Look, that just got stopped out. See that? And this structure that we're looking at here, lower high, that's not exactly bullish. So I don't want to keep messing with this, right? So I'm not going to stay in counter trend mode because it's going to keep calling longs. So I'm going to go back into trend mode. And now it's looking for shorts. Now, am I interested in shorts? No. What we have here is a conflicting situation, right? We have a bearish structure. Our bigger picture, which is the 1 hour over here, this is still bullish. It's just a pullback and the bullish, like this is still a bullish. There's nothing bearish about this. Okay. If we start breaking supports, we break this, for example, then maybe we can start adjusting. So in this situation, when this conflict occurs like this, the easiest thing to do, there are 2 things. One, walk away. That's the absolute easiest thing to do. And come back when things are aligned, or sit here and wait until the smaller time frame says trend is bullish. So it realigns with the bigger picture idea. I don't think it's that hard to do. It's just a matter of waiting. Now, if you have a hard time waiting in front of a chart and not taking trades, well, that has nothing to do with the Trade Scanner Pro. So the thing to do, again, I'm not going to walk away. I'm in the middle of a stream. So I will have to wait until the trend status turns back to bullish, right? Let that turn back to bullish so that the Trade Scanner Pro is looking for longs. Okay. And that's it. So, and we'll see, we'll monitor. Well, is this the 15? This is the 15-second. Let's go back to the 30-second. We'll monitor the bigger picture here just to see where we're at. So where can we anticipate this reversal and then this thing changing? Well, if we get back into this consolidation around 22,435, somewhere around there, that would be a good place for this thing to find some support. All right, maybe it finds it now as a little mini double bottom in there. But again, this is going to take some time before the trend turns bullish on here. It may take 20 minutes, right? The best thing to do is wait. All right. So obviously Chairman Powell was speaking. Is anyone watching him? Is anyone watching the testimony? I wanted to watch him on the stream, but I looked up like the channel and it wasn't like, it was weird. It wasn't like on the schedule. And I'm not messing with YouTube. So anyone watching him? All right. So anyway, and again, by waiting for these things to happen, right? Again, knowing that our bigger picture has not changed is very important, because a situation like this may suck you into getting short. And this market's not exactly a short. That situation may have been a brief short, but this market's not a short yet. So our probability is better if we look for longs. We just have to wait for the market to realign. There's a lot of patience required. You know, it's not an easy game. But by keeping my loss tightly controlled like that, you know, how many of you guys have seen me before lose $400? Because I'd have 2 or 3 contracts on, and then I'd fight the trend. I'd fight this type of situation, this conflicting situation. I'd fight it and continue to go long, go long, go long, get stopped out 2 or 3 times. I check my P&L, I'm minus $400. But here, I made those adjustments with the filtered entry and waiting for the trend to realign, right? So by doing all that and controlling my size, I've reduced those $400 losing days to $30, minus $30 losing days. All right. Which one would you rather have? Minus 400 or minus 30? So minus 0 would be even better. So no problem. Any questions about anything? Anyone have any opinions, any comments? Anyone want to say hello? Man, I'm really talking to a wall today. So any other perspectives? What are you guys doing out there? You guys taking any trades? I've been doing this stream now, I think, for more than 2 months, and my numbers are going backwards. So, you know, I need to make some changes because I can't keep doing this. You know, people come, no one sticks around. I mean, I'm not blaming you, but people have other things to do. It's not easy to do this at this time. People have jobs. I understand. But I also have to look out for myself here. All right. So maybe this thing, look, we have a higher low developing. So maybe this thing changes, but the structure hasn't broken yet. This bearish structure has not broken yet. It's still in play. So that doesn't mean I trade it. It just means I recognize it. We haven't broken this support. Look at this. We haven't broken that. And our 1 hour, I mean, look, that's just a pullback. There's nothing really going on there. There's nothing significant in terms of the larger structure. I mean, we could look at a 30-minute. It's not going to give us, it's pretty much going to give us the same story, just a little bit more detail. All right. But this structure is beautifully bullish. All we have to do is wait for a reversal to go back long. Right. And the Trade Scanner Pro, the nice thing about that is the Trade Scanner Pro, it takes a while for it to line up. So it keeps you out of a lot of trouble. Without any type of like framework like that, like days like today, I would be all over the place. I'd be like shorting it and then higher low and then like reacting to every little structure that I see here. Meanwhile, it's random. It's completely random. Especially when you have a guy like Powell speaking while the market's open like this. They're going to, like I said, any little reaction can really throw you off. So, I mean, I should have just made it a point not to take any trades at all. But hey, I wanted to give it a try. 2 trades. The first one was break even. It was somewhat green. Okay, broke even. The second one, I took the stop. I mean, minus $30. It's a 15-point stop. I lost 15 points. That's actually not a lot for the Nasdaq. That's not a lot at all. So, all right. All right. So now remember, Chairman Powell is going to be speaking. I believe these are still. I'm not sure. I'm not watching it, so I don't know where he's at. But I believe first he has the opening statement, which he's probably finishing up now, I would imagine, or maybe he's still in it. I don't know because I can't see it. Maybe someone in the chat can tell me. And then it's going to go to the Q&A, where all the tough senators, all the tough guys got to ask him these tough questions to make themselves look important. So, Chairman Powell, tell me, what do interest rates do? Are you going to cut them anytime soon? Because we need some cuts. What are you going to do? I mean, they ask him these tough questions, and everyone, it's all pretend. They're all going out drinking after the thing. They're all going out for beers. Like, that was some pretty tough questions you asked me. I know, it's good, right? Very dramatic, right? You think we fooled the public? Oh, yeah, we fool them every time. They love it. Financial drama. But I'm sure he wasn't too happy about about Trump's comments, which I think are hilarious. It's probably not having beers with him. But anyway, so yeah, all right, nothing to do here. No problem. Hey, Grego, how are you? Someone says hello. Yeah. See, I got someone to laugh. Well, that's what they do. They all act big and tough, right? When the camera's on. They're like, so Chairman Powell, I have a very tough question for you. What's your question? I want to know what interest rates are and how they affect the economy because my voters want to know. Like, all right, how many more stupid questions are you going to ask? Chairman Powell, I demand to know, when are you going to raise interest rates? No, you want me to cut them. Cut them. Yeah, that's what I meant. Why is the economy doing so bad? It's not doing. Have you heard have you paid any attention to my opening statement? The economy is not doing so bad. It isn't? Half of my jurisdiction's out of jobs. Why is that? That's what they do. Anyway, and then after that, they all go out for a beer. That was a tough question I asked you, right? Well, it was kind of dumb, but it worked. I mean, come on, we all should know what interest rates do. Well, I wasn't sure what else to ask. I don't know anything about this financial stuff. I'm just a senator. All I know the only thing I know how to do is trade on inside information. That I know how to do. Anyway, all right. So enough of the joking around here. There's nothing going on here. Right? I mean, so he's speaking, not a good time. So I'm gonna wrap this up here in a moment because there's no point. I'm not gonna sit here for another 10 minutes, playing with myself. So again, it's a good idea not to take trades while this guy is speaking. It's a good idea to wait until he's done. The testimony could be going on for a couple of hours. So perhaps the afternoon session would be a better choice to look for technical signals. Right now, they're going to be highly random. So again, lesson learned on news days like today, especially when the guy's in the middle of his speech or being questioned, right? Charts don't mean a whole lot in this environment because what he can say can change what happens in 2 seconds. So we could do all the chart analysis in the world. It does not matter. It does not matter in situations like this. So please keep that in mind. We could flip a coin and get the same result. All right. So I'll leave you with that. Again, using the Trade Scanner Pro, you want to use the signal itself as a heads up, and then wait for it to pull back inside the risk gap, and then look for a candle reversal in there. That's usually the better way to go about it. Then jump into these signals, which could be random, and then it goes straight to the stop. My filtering method has been a very nice way to filter those situations out. All right. Again, if you're using the Trade Scanner Pro, use this time to ask me questions and to get clarity on how to use the tool, because it's a very valuable tool and it can really help you, if not make money, save money and avoid a lot of losing situations and help keep your account intact. You know, that's reason why Stain developed this thing. So let me know if you have questions. All right, so guys, by the way, any of you have Telegram? Grego, do you have Telegram? Because if you do, I was just wondering if some people could do me a favor. There's a impersonator of me on Telegram using my name and my picture. There's actually 2 names. It's Mark P Markets and Mark P Markets _1. If you're on Telegram, can you complain about the impersonator? Just report the impersonator. I've done it, but maybe if they get more reports, they'll remove the guy. I mean, not even my impersonator can build a following. He has a channel with like 2 people in it. I'm like, you have to be joking. Not even my impersonator. I mean, dude, if you're going to impersonate someone, you really should find someone that has a following. Like, seriously, what a dope. Like, dude, what's wrong with you? Like, man, not even the real me can get a following. My impersonator is going to get a following? You don't have it? All right, don't worry about it. It's okay. So maybe someone that's watching, if you have Telegram, but what a moron. I mean, really. Impersonate someone that has a following, moron. Impersonate someone like, maybe a cute girl or someone. Do much better. It's probably like a teenager or something. Because only someone would be that dumb. Like, who does that? Anyway, but I would like to have that person removed because especially since someone may think it's me and whatever, right? Shouldn't have an impersonator. So, but don't worry about it, Grego. Anyone else that's watching, if you have Telegram, if you could do me that favor, that would be cool. I'm gonna report him again. I'm just gonna keep doing it. I guess it takes some time for them to get to it, but I just thought maybe if a few more people reported, maybe they'd take it, give it more priority. But all right, guys. So I'm gonna leave you with that. Enjoy the Chairman Powell testimony. Remember, I am not streaming on Friday, so don't come looking for me on Friday. It's not like anyone, Grego. It's like you're the only one who came looking for me anyway, so it's not like anyone's worried about that. So I'm not streaming on Friday, okay? So no Friday stream as a reminder, and then we'll do this again next week. All right, so again, guys, thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day, the rest of your evening, wherever you're watching in the world, and thank you so much for watching.